if I know I need to be doing something, that means whatever I'm currently doing isn't that thing. And if I need to motivate myself to do something different, I envision, okay, if I continue doing what I'm currently doing,
Right.
what pain would that cause me and the people I love? The moment I answer that question, I'm done doing this. I move on to this thing. For me, that's really, I'm not, that is very personal to me. Someone who is heavily motivated to move away from pain or away from something,
Yeah.
that's a very effective way to take the leap. I think if we can get people in business to view business as a game that you get to play and you get to play against people, and playing against people doesn't mean you have to compete against them. It's
Right.
almost like I'm a runner, like I do endurance running, and I love competing and I like, running and winning at the end. But at the end of the day, I'm competing with me. The moment you start moving, you don't have to focus on balance. The balance takes care of itself,
So good.
right? So to focus on balance means I must not be moving. What's the solution? Move. Balance finds you, right? The same thing with thinking about things ahead of time and not taking action because we're overanalyzing. It's the only reason we're overanalyzing is because we're not moving.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. Today's guest is all about rapid, lasting transformation. He is a mindset and performance coach who works with high-level entrepreneurs, business owners, and peak performance using NLP and hypnosis to rewrite or rewire how they think, not just what they think. He helps clients break stuck patterns and the structural level so changes happens faster, goes deeper, and actually last. Pumped to have him here. Welcome to the show, Miles Rubin. What's up, dude?
Hey, thanks for having me, Adam.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here. So let's go back to the beginning and when you were growing up, what did success mean in your world?
Good question. That's a great question. Growing up, what did success mean in my world? I think younger, it was very material
Mhm.
related, right? I was also a very shy, timid kid. So I don't even know if I really like seeked out success
Right.
in any recognizable way. Um, but I can answer that more along the lines of before I like kind of right before I started doing what I do. And for me, it was success was very personal and very like self-driven. And so like I always was looking to improve and better myself. I always I guess it is more than just self-directed too. I've always loved helping people. I've
Mhm.
always loved working with people. If I could leave an interaction and someone was in a better mood, that made always made me feel really good.
Mhm.
Um, and so I've always had a deep motivation to better myself because I like performing better, and I also very much like helping other people do
Mhm.
better as well.
That's so important, especially in
Yeah,
entrepreneurship, because you
yeah,
should be obsessed with other people's problems, right? And it's not about solving your problems in the end, like can say, but to actually start making money, I would say.
right.
Like that should be the whole thing because the when you solve other people's problems, you're going to change your life,
I,
right?
you took the words out of my mouth. I think helping other people solve their problems in and of itself helps you solve your problems,
Mm.
right? It's like teaching someone how to do something helps you get better at that thing.
So good, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. When you said that that you've been always helping about helping people, you've been having this type of feeling from beginning, right? That's what you meant, right? And like, was it the way that actually your parents wanted you to go, or how it was for you?
Yeah, good question. I was very blessed, and
Mhm.
still am very blessed to have amazing parents, entrepreneurs.
Right.
Yeah. I didn't realize it at the time, like at the time, how much of an influence it would have. Um, my my parents have always been like, I was just having a conversation with them last week, and my mom and dad on the phone, and they're like, "We're so proud of you and your sister." I have a sister who does stand-up comedy here in Atlanta, doing it all on her own. She's absolutely amazing. And we're telling me how proud they are of us, of just doing our thing, sticking to what we're committed to and doing our thing in a very non-traditional way.
Mm,
And so I think, not to say that not having that upbringing doesn't mean someone can't go this route. I
mhm,
think for me personally in my journey, having that without realizing it at the time was massive in shaping the path that I'm on right now.
mm. Would you say that you've been raised different way than other people, like when they are actually like from, for example, when they are growing up in families who are just working like in corporate job, or what is your thoughts about this, or what is your even experience about that?
God, it's hard. It's hard to say. I don't know. I, I could answer that yes and no. I don't know because
Mm,
I would have to really put myself into someone else's perspective to be able
mhm,
to know, oh yeah, that's different.
mhm,
I'm sure there were differences
mhm,
than growing up in a family with parents that are highly corporate or kind of like, or
mhm,
someone with parents that and family that weren't making much money.
mhm,
Um, I think the difference really comes not from the upbringing, it
mhm,
comes from the meaning we give to the upbringing.
mhm,
I've plenty of people that I know that grew up with parents who are highly successful entrepreneurs and they've become drug addicts,
mhm,
right? And so it's like, well, they had a similar upbringing to me, but look at the route that they're on, right? I
mhm,
also know people that grew up in the worst of conditions that are absolutely living their best life and loving it, making a lot of money, enjoying it. They're healthy, they have good relationships. It's like they have it all. And so I constantly think about, man, yeah, upbringing sure, it can have an effect, but I think the kicker is what someone does regardless of the upbringing.
mhm,
That's, I think, and recognizing that we actually have the power to choose what we do and how we do what we
mhm,
do, regardless of our conditions. It doesn't necessarily take away from the hardships of conditions. I think
right.
we've got to acknowledge external conditions can be a challenge for sure. But if we have the awareness and the skill and the ability to create the story we want about our external
Mhm,
conditions, that's I think if that's my big mission. I think if we can, I can help people recognize that they have the power to craft their own story,
mhm,
be able to look through whatever lens they need to help them move forward in the way that they want. Man, you almost welcome challenge because
mhm,
it's like, well, it doesn't matter what the challenge is. If I can look at it in a way that allows me to take action and move forward in a very productive and healthy way that is in alignment with what I want and the ones I love,
yeah,
bring it on.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have
So,
like conversation with your parents that like you can either go being being employed, or
mm,
you can go being, entrepreneur and have different type of life, or how
right.
it was for you?
So mine was a little different. About, let's see. Sorry, my dog just came up. She's
That's all
like,
right.
um, so a few years before I really dove into what I do, I um I wasn't really doing much with my life, right? So I was working a part-time job. I
Mhm,
was not going to school and lying about it. I had no motivation, no purpose, no vision. I was kind of just skating by. And so, but I
been
knew
there,
like,
been there.
yeah, yeah. And I think after doing it for a little bit, I think it can be really easy to get caught in that and not see another way, like just the way it is, like you're in the groove, right? And eventually, um, I just wanted to. I knew when you're sleeping in till 2 or 3 p.m. every day and not doing much with your life, at some point it's like, okay, this can either going to continue or
Mm.
the only way this can change is if I do something
Ooh,
different.
yeah, so good.
Um, yeah, it's the good news and the bad news, right? It's empowering though, right? Because it's like, oh, okay, I got to do something different, but that's empowering because it's up
Mm,
to me. Um, so I ended up moving out of my parents' place and moving to I'm from California.
mhm,
I moved to Utah
mhm,
and
mhm.
I participated in a program out there for specifically for men that were just kind of not kind of like failure to launch type of stuff, right? So not a lot of in their 20s, not doing much with their life, trying to figure it out.
That was the first training that you took, and on that journey, right? Was that okay? Was it like the calling or something?
That's it. Yeah, I mean, I was a student in that program,
Mhm.
and it was about 6 months. Um, really transformed my life. And I actually ended up, after going through that program as a client, I ended up working with the program as a coach and
Ooh,
mentor for about 2 years.
ooh, so good.
And like that is what got me to start thinking about, ooh, I want to do this on my own. I want to be able to do this on my own with and build my own thing.
How did you get actually to pick that program or investing to that training?
So yeah, so the training, that 6 month thing that I did
Mhm,
was that was more that not my training for what I do now.
mhm,
That definitely was a part of it and led to that. I owe a lot to that program.
mhm,
I still am friends with people that I went through the program with, my coaches, the people
mhm,
that I worked with. I'm probably going to be going to visit Utah in October, and I'll go see them. I haven't seen them in a while, and so it's like
mhm,
they hold a very special place in my heart. What got me into what I do now, so the NLP and the hypnosis,
mhm.
I was I was watching a YouTube video. You've heard of Tony Robbins?
Who know?
Yeah,
Who
of
don't?
course. Yeah, of course. It's a silly question. Sometimes people don't, and I got to explain. But I watched, like, in my mind, I'm like, how do you not know Tony Robbins? I saw a video of him working with a gentleman who had a stutter
All
when
right.
he would talk.
Mhm.
And um, the YouTube video is called like Tony gets rid of guy's stutter in 7 minutes or something like that. And I'm like, come on. I click on it and watch it. And sure enough, the guy's does a process with this guy. The guy gets up on stage and is speaking flawlessly. And I'm
Wow.
like, that's cool. But also in the back of my head, like I'm usually a very skeptical person,
Okay.
right? I'm open. I'm open to ideas and thinking about things, but I'm also like, I'm going to question it because yeah, I don't. Yeah, what- um, yeah, I feel like healthy skepticism is what keeps people out of cults,
Yeah.
right?
Awesome.
Um, and so, but I was intrigued, right? And and he was the first example I had seen of a coach in the context of something that wasn't a sport,
Mm.
right? I always thought coaches, okay, basketball, football,
Yeah.
soccer.
Yeah.
I I didn't think of
I
coaching.
would say I would add to this that like people who are actually growing up really in that corporate family, they don't even have some type of mindset coaches or something like this type of like they maybe know about business coaches because this is like similar topic to something that they're actually teaching in a school, but like mindset coaches or something like does it even exist? What is this? Most of the people when I like when I for example been working, they when I started studying those type of things and they don't even like be careful that you're not going to spend like lose money or something. They're not gonna take money from you. And I was like, huh? What are you talking about?
Oh, right. Oh, yeah. No, I remember when I did my very first training, I it cost me $5,000.
Right.
And so you're like, what? What? It's like it was a week long. So it's like you're spending 5 grand for a week. Like it's like such in my mind, I'm like, yeah, you spent 60 grand for a 4 year education and you're not even in the industry that you studied.
Yeah.
Who's wasting money? Me or you? First of all. That was an yeah. And then I remember one of the things we learned in my very first training was how to eliminate a food craving, right?
All right. Okay.
Someone has, yeah. And I used to be about, I don't know if you know, you probably don't know this. I used to be about 80 pounds overweight. I'll have
Oh,
to
I
show
didn't
you.
know. No, I didn't know.
So I lost a bunch of weight and then I did my training and I was like, this would have been a very effective thing to know how to do when I was losing weight.
Mm,
And it's amazing. It takes like 5 or 6 minutes, and you can
mhm,
get quite literally eliminate a food craving. And it blew my mind.
right.
And I was like, I'm going to do this for 6 months. I made all of my money back from that training by doing food craving elimination sessions with people. I did it for
Wow.
6. I charged $250 to
Wow.
eliminate a food craving. I guaranteed results.
That was the
To,
first.
that was the first time I realized,
Right.
oh shit, I can fund my life by
Wow.
developing skills and providing value to people to solve problems.
That's awesome.
And yeah, it's like five, because it's like five. What was the perception shift that made it was oh, my coach said $5,000 is just $5 with three zeros added at the end. And I made me laugh. It was like, it's not that, but also that it's funny because it's like, yeah, that is. It's like $5,000 is $2,500 two times.
Mm,
It's $5 1,000 times. If I have something I can charge $5 for and sell it 1,000 times, that's $5,000. And I was like, so I rolled with that concept of
mhm.
and that's yeah, I was like, well, if I how much are people's food cravings holding them back? A lot. It prevents them from losing weight. It prevents them from doing all sorts of things in life. I was like, oh, I'll charge $250. It's like
Mm.
people like it's like that's a lot of money. It's like how much money do you spend on your food every day? Oh, $10, $5. It's like, well, you
It
get
seems
rid of
to
the food
me,
craving, you
yeah.
don't eat it again, and you don't eat it for 6 months,
Right,
you'll have
right.
saved more money. And they're
It
like,
seems
oh,
to
that's a
me
good way.
when yeah, it seems to me like when people starting their businesses or they are on the beginning, basically, I would say they are overthinking so many things, like
Oh,
so
it's
many things that just pick something what solves the real problem and just
yep.
go with it. And like it needs to have the problem needs to be for probably for there needs to be an audience for that problem, right? But most of the time, like if that problem was something that you had, I would say that you going to there is a huge chance that you're going to like so many others going to have the same problem. And you had if you could solve it, there is like just don't overthink it. You just need to do it. You
Yep.
know, like yeah, I don't know what is your take on that if you would add
Yeah.
anything to this.
Yeah, so you'll like this. I just posted this on my Facebook. Yeah, it's so funny that this topic came up. It makes sense because everything kind of works out that way.
Yeah.
Um, we're talking about balance,
Ooh,
right?
okay.
And I think it applies to what you're saying right now, which is you just gotta go out and do it.
Mm,
We spend so much time thinking about things
sure.
and we don't actually do it.
Waiting for
And
the perfect moment for something that is never
right,
perfect.
it's never perfect, right? And balance is kind of like it, right? Because try to focus on balance is to is like trying to get on a bike, put both your feet on the pedal and not move.
Mm,
It's really hard. You're
yeah.
going to put your foot down unless you're really skilled at. I know very few people that can sit on a bike
Yeah.
and not move, but they're putting a lot of effort into balancing.
Ooh,
But the moment you start pedaling, the
mm,
moment you start moving, you don't have to focus on balance. The balance takes care of itself,
so good.
right? So to focus on balance means I must not be moving. What's the solution? Move. Balance finds you,
Right.
right? And same thing with thinking about things ahead of time and not taking action because we're over analyzing. It's the only reason we're over analyzing is because we're not moving. The
Mm,
solution to over analyzing is to move
mm,
because you can
totally.
it takes care of itself. But we get so caught up, right? Well, what if, right? Well, I tried to do something in the past and it turned out this awful way, and I'm fearful that it'll happen again, right? This is where the mindset piece comes in. We've got limiting beliefs, right? I don't believe it's possible. God, that's going to get in the way of you doing it if you don't believe it's possible. I'm fearful of the same thing happening again.
Mm,
That's getting in the way. What if we had ways to change the way we're thinking about it? So instead of believing it's impossible, it's that, well, it's absolutely possible. I just got to go out and do it. And it's
totally.
just these little tiny tweaks that we can make up here that make the biggest difference out here.
To that, when you started and when you started selling those things,
Mm.
have you had to overcome
Mm.
your objections or your false beliefs? Tell me about that.
Yeah. Um, oh man, I had a lot. Who am I to charge
You've
what I
been
charge?
you said you've been shy kid, always,
Yeah. Oh,
you
um, I remember I one time, yeah, I had a big thing of um like therapists, right? Because I'm not a therapist, right? I don't do therapy, I do coaching. And I remember in my head going, I can't charge 200 at the time, $250 to eliminate a food craving when therapists might charge $100 for an hour session.
Mhm.
And that was a big block for me. How could I do this? Um, that one was one I was always very nervous about objections
Mm.
because I took them very personal. Someone said no to my offer. I felt like they were saying no to my soul.
Ah,
It,
yeah. Ooh.
it hit deep. Uh,
Mm.
and so also I'm the type of person when I learn something and I'm excited about it, I'll go out and do it and practice it and um, almost to a point where it annoys other people.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. And it's bitten me in the butt a few times, but it's also
Well,
the best thing that could happen because it's
totally.
like, oh, now I know what not to do.
Mhm.
Uh, and so yeah, those come up. But yeah, money was a big one for me.
Mm.
Charging a certain thing. What do I do when people say you're too expensive?
Yeah.
All stuff now where I'm like, it's kind of like thinking about riding a bike. It's like it's
Mhm.
really easy because it's just that you know what to do when it comes up.
Yeah.
And it's what I help people with all the time. Now it's cool that it's like, oh yeah, you're struggling with something that I struggled with.
Mhm.
Here's some tools and techniques to handle that. Practice them, and it's like doesn't like it just shows when it shows up. You just list them off like this.
Mm.
And
So,
so a lot of, yeah,
go ahead.
but the techniques and the tactics only work if
Mhm.
you work on this first. I had to change my own perception of
Mm.
money, right? Money is a big thing.
Yeah.
It's
So
such
many
a
people having that issue. Yeah.
right. Oh, absolutely. My own worth, right?
Hmm.
I remember coming up like I can't charge that. And I was like, well, because I was like, oh, it's has nothing to do with me not being able to charge it. It has to do with my own perception of the value I'm providing for someone.
Hmm.
Why would anyone buy anything if I don't believe in the value of what I'm providing? I need to adjust my perception of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like what I like what I see more and more. The thing is like your first sale or
Mhm.
anything like what you like if you are in a business, it's not even selling your own like your product. It's selling you to them that you can actually do it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then yeah, yes. Oh yeah, the first it's a confidence booster for sure.
Totally.
Absolutely. It's like the once you break through that, it's like for me, I had to do it 3 times. I have to do that 3 times before I'm convinced I can do it effectively.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember the third time I enrolled someone in my in coaching, I was like, okay, we can this can be done
Tell me
now.
that. Tell me about that more. Like, tell me how you
Yeah.
felt after, like, when you actually done that.
Oh, oh, it was I started thinking about it like a game. It's like
Oh,
when you start getting good at a game, right? When you get good at chess, right? And you're like, ooh, I can go toe to toe with people,
yeah.
and I might lose, but it's like, okay, but let's just reset the pieces and play again. That's how I
Mhm.
start. That's how I look at it now. It's like, oh, there's no failure. It's just the game resets.
Mm.
I started looking at sales and business like a game that
Mhm.
I get to play and I get to compete and it's fun. And if I fall on my face, it might suck, but it's like, all right, let's get back up and run the play again.
Mhm.
It's like, oh, this is cool. And you get, yeah, it really is. That's when I started viewing it like a game. I think if we can get people in business to view business as a game that you get to play and you get to play against people, and playing against people doesn't mean you have to compete against them. It's
Right.
almost like I'm a runner, like I do endurance running, and I love competing and I like, running and winning at the end. At the end of the day, I'm competing with me, right?
Mhm.
And
So good. Yep.
right? If I'm going out there and I'm the only one in the race, I need to be able to compete. I'm going to
Mhm.
compete with the past version of
So
myself.
many people are, trying to compare
Right.
themselves to somebody or
Yeah.
something, and this is like one of the worst thing that you can do. And I know that from my own experiences, because oh my gosh, I've been so obsessed about looking other people more successful than me or so on, and just kept me in that. And when, for example, going and speaking to them, it's like you are already straight away you are not talking to equal person. You are talking to them like from a lower perspective or so, and
Yes.
that's it just hurts you because now they see you that you are not confident enough actually what you're doing, so you are even closing your opportunities and everything. Like, I don't
And
know
even,
your take on that. Tell me. Yeah,
oh,
go ahead.
you bring up such a brilliant point there is if you're speaking to someone as if you're somehow less than them,
Hmm.
even if they don't pick up on it, you're still acknowledging to yourself that you believe you're less than them. So you create
Right.
resistance,
Yeah.
right? It's what we do it, everything is self-induced,
Hmm.
whether we realize it or not.
Hmm.
You spot on with that when it goes all other way too. If we
Hmm.
speak to someone as if we're somehow better than them,
Hmm. It's
whether,
not gonna
whether
help you. That's gonna hurt you
no,
also the same way. Like,
right,
yeah,
right.
because that way you are making the distance stronger, and your
That's
audience, if you are talking to your audience from like if you are better than them, for example, really great example is Gary Vaynerchuk. He's
yeah,
somebody,
yeah.
and everybody like when he talks to audience, he's like, you can't reach me. And
He
this is
does
like, yeah, anyway,
he
I
does
don't
a
know if you
really
have seen any other examples like that, but this is one like what I can see a lot.
he does a really good job being a human.
Hmm.
and connection and also dumbing things down for people.
Yeah.
Right? You're not too old. You're 60, you're young.
No.
He does a really good job reframing. It's like, what are you doing? Like a lot of the most successful people on the planet didn't start until they were much later in life. It's
Yeah.
not too, it's
Amen.
never too late.
Yeah.
If you're alive and you're breathing, it's not too late.
Hmm.
Go do it. And I think he does a really good job saying that in a direct, fun, and
Hmm.
impactful way. Yeah,
Totally. For sure.
yeah.
Yeah. So good. Like,
We'll tag him in this, so maybe he'll feature us in
yeah.
it.
Wow. Yeah. When you like, so when you started, like, first thing that you've been selling, that was the craving
Yeah.
stuff. And so how did you get from there to actually like NLP?
Yeah, so the NLP, that was the food craving stuff I learned in my first NLP training.
Yeah,
That was
right.
one of the many things we learned.
Mhm.
And then, God, what got me? Because I work now with a lot of people
Or
in business.
let's step back and
Okay.
what your parents
Mm,
being like like what they thought about the way that you decided to go,
yeah.
like,
So,
going exactly like coaching,
right.
like NLP stuff, doing this
Uh,
type of thing, because
oh,
this is not usual to do actually, like, and
no.
I don't know, even in business you
Right.
need to like the things that you are going through with those people, it can be super hard, I would say,
Yes.
sometimes, like, to figuring out and hearing those stories that they went through and everything. Like, tell me about that.
Okay, so you'll love this. So also to clarify for your audience, I'm going to kind of define NLP very basically. So NLP stands for neuro linguistic programming, right? Neuro refers to our neurology, right? You and I, Adam, we take in information the exact same way through what we see, hear, feel, smell, and taste. That's it, right? Barring any physiological things, right? If I'm blind, I don't take in information through my eyes because I'm
Right.
blind, right? So this is assuming we have access to all five of our senses, right? See, hear, feel, smell, taste, right?
Right.
Once the information goes in, right, we form, there's filters that go on in our head without us even realizing it, right?
Right.
Our attitudes, our judgments, our decisions, our
Yeah.
beliefs, emotions, our uh, our preferences. This
Mhm.
all happens unconsciously. We don't even realize it's happening. And it's the exact reason why you and I can watch something happen
Mhm.
and I might go, "Oh my gosh, that pisses me off." And you might see the same thing and go, "That's awesome. That gets me really excited."
Yeah.
The
Right.
same thing happened, but you and I have two totally different meanings that we assign to the thing that we saw.
Mhm.
That's referring to linguistic, right? The words, that pisses me off. My
Mhm.
words, your
Mhm.
words was, ooh, that gets me excited.
Yeah.
Two totally different structures.
Mhm.
So, neuro, the information we bring in, linguistic, how we create and give meaning
Mhm.
to what we take in,
Yeah.
and then how we create and give meaning to the information we take in translates directly into our behavior, which is our programming.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
So neuro-linguistic programming is kind of along those lines. So NLP is became this, it's a model, is really what it is. It's a model of communication, right?
Right.
How are we communicating? How are we paying attention to what we're paying attention to
Mhm.
and communicating to ourselves in a way that produces behavior? And
Mhm.
it's the behavior that I'm doing consistently,
Mhm.
moving me in the direction of where I want to go. If the answer is yes, how do I do more of it?
Mhm.
If the answer is no, it's moving me not in the direction of where I want to go. Wonderful. Let's stop doing that. Let's
Mhm.
evaluate how do I need to change my perception in a way that would allow me to do the things that I need to do more easily so I can get more of what I want.
Mhm.
It's a very basic
Yeah.
definition of it. So that way people have an idea as I'm telling this next story, they'll go, oh, okay, cool. So about my parents.
Mhm.
Uh, at first they were, oh, is it frozen? There it
Okay.
goes.
Yes, sir.
Uh, at first they were a little skeptical,
Mhm.
but I think I think I know because they are now both trained in NLP.
Oh
So
my God,
my
that's
my
awesome.
my mom and my dad at a later point were like, oh, we want to go do one. Not because they want to go and coach, right? They
Right.
did. My dad was like, I want to learn more about what you do. Like, this is cool. My mom's just very big on personal development. She's likes this kind of stuff. My sister's done it. She's a stand-up comic.
So you've
So
been
it's like we're
already
not.
in this type of era from your young age, basically. Like, your parents been already like kind of in this, or am I wrong?
No, I
Oh, you brought it,
I
kind of.
oh I absolutely, yeah. It's, yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
I pat myself on
Wow.
the back. I remember no they made the decision to do it, right? Like I wasn't hypnotizing them to come do hypnosis, to come,
Yeah.
but um, but um, I think I remember at one point telling them, I was like, listen, I think this actually could be a really cool experience for you guys to go through
Mhm,
just for yourselves,
mhm,
just to learn. Um, I mean, that very first training that I did, it's my NLP and hypnosis training.
mhm,
I think everybody should go through that week-long training,
mhm.
whether you want to be a coach, whether it doesn't, not relevant for personal development. It's game changing. Um,
I would say even if you are starting a business through the program, you should for sure like or starting the personal development, you should go like a first thing because the game is like 90% of mindset. If you're not going to go with that, you're going to be stuck with skills that you have or you're going to develop with somebody going to hand you, but you won't be able to execute because your staff going to hold you back. And I went that way. And then I tried to do it the other way, like start actually learning personal development and start shifting my beliefs and so on because I've been, like putting myself down. I've been
right,
also like very shy kid from the beginning. I couldn't speak properly to other people, and then my English barrier also adds to that. And
right,
it was like so many things. But then you just really the thing is that the mindset is so big, like so big. Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know if that answered your question about my parents, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I would say yeah.
Thought it was funny you asked because it's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, they're in it now. They call me. My dad calls me all the time. Hey, what do you think about this? Because and I pay very close attention to
Mhm,
language, right? The words people use, right? How people are. It's fascinating to me, right?
mhm,
um, the assumptions we have to make when someone says something, right? Like we don't need to go into politics. Politics make me laugh so much because it's like, what are they even saying? They're not saying anything. They're saying things, and it's like you're assuming a lot. You're asking the people who are paying attention to accept a lot of stuff without them even considering it in order
mhm.
to pay attention to what you're saying. Fascinating to me.
Yeah,
It happens in marketing. It happens everywhere. In
yeah.
order to communicate, we do it. And I love analyzing it because it's
Mhm,
like, oh, interesting. This is the direction of the words they're using.
mhm.
And, and so my dad always, what do you think about this person saying this? And I'll send it over to me. I'll watch it and I watch it and I point something out and he goes, how did you know? How did you like how did you find that out? I said, I'm just listening to what they're saying. But
Right.
we have fun with it.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Like, yeah, the personal game is so big and it's so important. Like, because like from our young age and we are already like programmed the way that, when you just think about it, the school never evolved in
Right.
like into our world or in like into our age, and like it's still they're still teaching us the same stuff that been taught in I don't know 100 years ago,
Yeah.
which is crazy to me, right? And there are people that they invest money, they take students loans, and then they are stuck with actually like paying those that's basically about 50 years, for example, and then they are all and they would like they try to start living the life when they're 60 or
Yeah.
this is insane to me. That was like one of the things that actually luckily in my country where I grew up, if you want to go and study some type of degree or so, you don't need to take loans because there are like only public or private schools, so you are basically studying until when you are 26 for free, and then over that you need to pay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Interesting. That's
yeah.
very different than here.
Mhm.
Very, yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Huh.
So, yeah, anyway, so back to I wanted to ask you, there is a person who
Mm,
is on the fence and
mm,
he like deciding between jumping into entrepreneurship or stay in corporate job. What would
mm.
you say to those people, or what would you like somebody told you when you started that would actually help you to get results faster? What would you say to those type of person, like to those type of people?
Great question. I'm going to assume that people that are someone who's on the fence
Mhm.
and is wanting to jump into entrepreneurship, the goal is to make the jump, right? Not retreat, right? Because I think so, and they're being held
You
back
can
by
you can
stuff,
even you can also address, for example, for those who are in entrepreneurship and for
right?
example they are not getting the results that they want
Right.
and something like stopping them or something they are trying to figure out what is the next step.
I just had a funny answer, but there's truth to it. Invest in a coach.
Oh,
Hire me.
oh,
I
so
say
good.
I say
Yeah,
that
it's so true.
facetiously, but I also say it seriously because um, nothing is getting in the way except for this.
Awesome.
Problems don't exist, perceptions of problems exist. Um, I also understand that that may not be something that, might be a realistic thing. So I think something that people can do on their own is um, ask themselves questions,
Hmm.
right? On the fence. What is being on the fence? How is being on the fence serving me
Hmm.
right? Right? It's not, right? It's keeping me safe. That's the big
Hmm.
one, right? How is safety working out in your life right now?
Right.
Ask yourself, I ask myself this question all the time. I need to take action on something, right?
Mhm.
Or I need to do something big. It's like, well, what's keeping me from taking it? Well, that, whatever I just did, right?
Yeah.
Whatever you just did, that's bring that into light.
Hmm.
And then being willing to go, okay, recognize, is this helping me take the leap? And
Hmm.
if the answer is no, wonderful. What would?
Hmm.
Being willing, right? You can't like I said, balance. You
Hmm.
can't balance unless you're moving.
Hmm. To add to this, I started implementing something into like how I operate, that
Yep,
I literally asking like nearly everything what I can see that
yep,
majority of people
mhm,
doing, and if that's actually true or not.
yep,
Because if you think about like those type of things, like like what everybody does or how we follow rules or something is named because of that, somebody made it up. Like literally somebody made it up,
yep.
and everybody accepted it.
Uh,
And things that,
Careful,
for
you're
example,
gonna break into the matrix here.
oh my gosh. But
Uh-huh.
that's like, I'm telling
Yep.
you, this is super powerful thing that I start actually like applying, and it's really rewarding for me especially.
I think,
And yeah,
oh, sorry.
go ahead, no.
To add on to that,
Hmm.
here are two things I just thought of. For me, I I'll tell them in the form of an example. When I used to be about 290 pounds, was really
Hmm.
overweight. And I remember waking up one morning and I wasn't able to bend over and tie my shoes because I had too much belly fat to reach
Wow.
down.
Okay.
And I just remember in that moment, I was like, oh, no, can't, no more. I started envisioning 10 years down the road. I eventually want kids. It's like, if I continue doing what I'm doing, I'm going to be even bigger. I'm not going to be able to live the life I want. I'm not going to be able to. I started thinking about all of the things, the painful things that would happen if I continued doing what I was doing. That
Hmm.
was really, still is motivating for me. If I know I need to be doing something, that means whatever I'm currently doing isn't that thing. And if I need to motivate myself to do something different, I envision, okay, if I continue doing what I'm currently doing,
Right.
what pain would that cause me and the people I love? The moment I answer that question, I'm done doing this. I move
Hmm.
on to this thing.
Hmm.
For me, that is very personal to me. Someone who is heavily motivated to move away from pain or away from something,
Yeah.
that's a very effective way to take the leap.
Hmm.
Uh, I
That's
think
that's
also, yeah, yeah, for a very personal example for me. Yeah.
totally. And I
Yeah.
think it is going to help lots of people to hear that, because
Yeah.
for sure this is like, this is one of the things like majority of people are actually trying to escape from pain. I would say that is like
Oh,
bigger.
yeah. Yeah, we all have a function of both.
Mhm.
But the now more than ever, people are very heavy.
Entrepreneur people think more
Mm.
about like the better life. So,
Yeah,
but for
you need
yeah.
there's benefit to both.
Mm.
We want if we can recognize that there's power in both being motivated to move away from pain and to move toward pleasure,
Mhm.
and when to implement those preferences of motivation, people become unstoppable.
Mhm.
We want to utilize both
Totally.
and recognize our own preference. Yeah.
And you would believe how much has hidden behind um that, like when we're talking about towards pleasure
Mm.
and escape from pain, because those are techniques that people are using to sell things,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's like there is so many like so much things connected with mindset and how we operate and everything, like with the business, that you
Yeah.
would be like, people would be like, when you're gonna go deep into this type of things, you would be
Mhm.
surprised what's everything, like how is everything actually relate to each other.
Yeah.
Anyway, crazy stuff. I
Yeah.
think we're gonna end up here because this was like, it's amazing to talking to, because this is like super powerful.
Yeah.
And I think that we're gonna end exactly in the right place, because this is like so much gold here. So where people can find you before I let you go?
Oh, yeah. You can find me on Instagram at official Miles Rubin. That's all lowercase, all one word. We can probably put it in text. Um, if anyone wants to email me, they can email me at miles.rubin@gurucoaches.com. So that's miles.rubin at gurucoaches.com. That's a great way to get in contact with me. But yeah, give me a follow on Instagram and TikTok, and I post stuff a lot, and so I try to I make things very simple and easy to understand and apply. So if people are curious about NLP, hypnosis, how it works, what even is it, I give real life examples and how to apply it. So give me a follow on on Instagram.
So amazing. Thank you so much for being here. And
Thank
for
you, Paul.
everyone who's listening, if this stirs something in you, don't ignore it. Share it with someone who needs it. Subscribe, leave a review, and remember, you weren't born to follow the script. You were born to be free. Bye, everybody.